this is my back garden. I really wanted to do a rose tour, but unfortunately not all of my roses are in bloom at the same time right now. Some have opened and some have not. So you know what? I don't want to miss the opportunity of capturing the ones that are in bloom. So let's do a quick tour of the ones that are in bloom. This is Peach Glory. She did amazing last year. This year she's a bit small, but she has some buds on her. She should be opening any day now. Can't wait to see her blooms. She was one of my favorite last year. These are gems that are starting to kind of, they're done with their blooming, but quite pretty color, and they're early spring flowering type of plants. This is Eliza. I always never know how to pronounce the name of this. So she's also all budded up, but not quite in bloom yet. And this is Dancing in the Dark, all budded up, but not quite in bloom yet, but should be soon because look, she's coloring up nicely. So I got two of the same ones. Here is Rosa Blessing. She is in bloom, and her bloom, the flower is ginormous. This one right here, Climbing Rose, is a pleasant surprise. So I got this rose from my next door neighbor probably 10 years ago when they dug up their bush in the front. At that time it wasn't a climbing rose, but I put it in the back here, and over the years just patiently waited for it to, I guess, see what it would do, and it sat and sat and did nothing for years. But look at her now, so very pretty. So I have two, they gave me two small sections of it. One is here and one's at the side of my house, and the one at the side of my house is also doing quite well. This is Living Easy, a peachy color rose. I think this is her third year in my garden. She's also budded up, a few in bloom right now. I love that mixed color. You got like different variation, apricot, peachy color, and then orange mixed in there too. Surprisingly, this one is easy does it, but these two look so very similar this year for whatever reason. Last year they didn't look quite the same. This one has more of an apricot, and I think the petals are a little bit more dense. But yeah, look at the two coloring. You almost can mistake them for the same rose. But look at this one. Is she not gorgeous? Oh my goodness. Oh, I just absolutely love this color. It starts off like this, very orangey, but then mature to this apricot color. Look at her blooms here. She's one of the reasons why I decided to do a rose tour early, because she's all in bloom. So if I wait any longer, I think she'll be all done. This is my Sunny Knockout. Not a tremendous amount of bloom. She hasn't really done very well in my garden, but this year's probably one of her best year actually. Globemaster Allium that I planted last fall. These ones are ginormous. Super happy with how big they are. I planted 9, only 8 came up though. Not sure what happened to that 9th one. Unfortunately, my Morden Blush is almost done blooming. She put on a really good show earlier last week. So I have two, one here and then also one on the other side there. But look at my Party Hardy. It just rained, so the flowers look a little bit sad right now. But look at the color. I just love this color mixed in with the purple of the geraniums and then with the light pink. Oh, my Moonlight, what is it, Romantica? She's in bloom. So I didn't know she was a climber or could be a climber, but I seen a really long stem, so I just trained her along my fence here. Sorry about the airplane. And she seems to be fine with it. Pretty big blooms, and I love that middle formation there. I have two of her, so two of these. One I planted here and one I planted here. So last year this one also sent up a really long stem, but instead of allowing it to climb the fence, I chopped off that long stem and just allow it to grow as a bush like this. Here's another one of my modern blush. Really love this color. Is it not gorgeous? Super soft pink, and it grows in a cluster like this. Of the two, this one has more blooms. Globe Master, huge. This one's a tiny bit smaller. This one is ginormous. I have pretty big hands and look at it. Like, it is huge. I'm loving it. I've heard another gardener say that over time hers kind of spread and produced more of these ball, I guess you can call it. So I'm really hoping next year that will be the case in my garden. Oh, I was really hoping this one would be in bloom for this this tour, but it's not. This one is all dressed up. She is all budded up. Her buds are ginormous, so I think I'm gonna get really big flowers this year. Here she is, all budded up, but not quite open yet. I think maybe by next week she should be in full bloom. More gem that I have planted. I have quite a few of these dotted all over the garden. I just love the little pretty flowers on them. My snapdragons. Okay, this is my first year planting perennial snapdragons. I planted these out really early on in the season, and they just kind of sat and was very slow growing, and they're finally growing really big and flowering, and I really like how bushy it is. I hope it comes back for me next year. A yellow one here. Unfortunately, the wind blew it over and kind of curved funny. I don't think I've read or heard that they don't correct themselves. Oh well, it's fine. But I love this color the most out of all the colors I have. Once again, Globe Masters, ginormous. This clematis is not doing quite as well. Last year she had way more blooms than this. This year, not so much. But her coloring is very pretty. I think out of all the Globe Masters, this one's the biggest one. Look how big it is. It is huge. And the bumblebees love them. Another sunny knockout on this side. This one is not as big as the one on the other side. This is Pink Promise. She's also all budded up, but she only has one bloom, but this one is an older bloom. It's not her best. The coloring is kind of like, what is it called? Not even, because it's an older bloom. But when she first opened up, she's really pretty. This is Dark Desire, also all budded up, but not fully in bloom yet. There's a whole bunch back there, over there. Delaney's Sisters, none are in bloom, but again, all budded up. Look at this cluster. Oh, it's gonna be gorgeous. So this is all Delaney's Sisters right there. Okay, so this is Sunbelt, South Africa. It's another peachy, light orange or apricot color that I have in my garden, which I love. She's all budded out. Look at that. It's too bad the rain kind of made them droop a little bit here. But yes, she's so pretty. Slightly scented, not super fragrant, but a tiny bit of scent. And next to her is Pretty Lady. She was one of my favorite performer last year, best performer. She had so many blooms. This year, not as many. I don't know why, but I did find that in the later season, she has more blooms. So maybe this year might be the same, but I love this coloring. And her blooms are usually pretty big. Last year, they bloomed in a cluster with more flowers than this, but this year, not quite the same. Oh yes, I tucked in some dahlias back there, and they're also in bloom. And here's another one of my clematis, purple one, deep purple, super pretty. Last year it did very little. I don't even think it had any flowers or any bloom on it, but this year it's starting to, this is the second year in the garden, so it's starting to put on some flowers. Hoping next year it will have even more flowers than this. This one is Cosmo Fairy Tale, all budded up, tons and tons of flower buds, but nothing that's open yet. So can't wait. Look at all that. This one's like a creamy white color. Kind of reminds me of a bridal bouquet. Oh no, this one's leaning from the rain. This one is Strike It Rich. She's budded up here. Lots and lots of flower buds, but not quite in bloom yet. Another one of my orangey color rose. This one is a pleasant surprise. Summer Romance Perfuma. Oh, there's one right in there, but I just quite can't get in there. It's too far. But that's her bloom right there. She's hidden underneath my hydrangeas there. But she's all budded up, so maybe next week these should open up for me. Look at all the buds on there. So she's recovered really nicely. I don't know why she didn't do that well last year for me. And Delish is right next to it. This one has suffered quite a bit last year. I thought she might die at one point, but no, she's kind of coming back. Not a lot of blooms, but she's looking healthy, so I'm happy about that. Look at the coloring. Is that not pretty? Next to Delish is a yellow one that I planted many, many years ago, and I have no idea what it's called, but I think through my research, it might be something called Sweet Jane. Based on its description of the color and the growth habit and whatnot, it might be Sweet Jane. Not quite sure though. And then of course, I have my climbing Jasmina here. Look at her. Oh my gosh, I think I've had her for quite a while now. This is her best year. Look at the top there. She is loaded with flower buds, and she's super scented when she's open too. When she's in bloom, she's super scented. So this area is gonna smell absolutely amazing when all of these buds open up. And she blooms or flower in a cluster like this. I'm super excited about this one this year. And as I mentioned, you come along here, I have her trained all along my pergola here, and look, the wisteria and the rose are finally meeting in the middle here, and that's exactly what I wanted and waited patiently to see. Look at that. Super happy. And of course she hangs all the way down here, and here is the wisteria on the other side, dangling down like a waterfall, purple waterfall. Isn't it gorgeous? I've waited so long. I've tried to grow wisteria for like 4, maybe 5 years and have been unsuccessful. They all died off on me except for this one. Next here, we have Thomas A. Beckett, super fragrant rose. Let me see if I can get her into the shade. There you go. So pretty, the coloring, and super fragrant. So I don't know if this is supposed to be a bush rose or not, but I have it. It has one long stem that goes all the way up here, and I kind of just left it, didn't do much with it. And it seems to be happy growing in this type of, I don't know, environment, if you call it. But yeah, it's just happy doing its thing. So I've just left it alone. But yeah, it was only his second year in my garden, so not a lot of blooms, but it's expected. It's only his second year. But yeah, I really love this color, and the fragrance is so nice. And then trailing inside here is another clematis. It's exactly what I've been trying to achieve, is to grow clematis amongst my roses so they can intermingle. I just really love that look, and finally they're starting to do that here. And here's another one tucked under there. So yes, these are the, oh yes, I should mention too, the ones, I have about 7 in this middle patch here. They're all budded up, but they're not quite ready to open. This is Earth Angel. A few flower buds, first year. All of them are first year, so I'm not expecting a whole lot of flowers. But as long as they flourish and they do well, I'm happy with that. This is Tournament of Roses. This one actually was in bloom, so there was 4 flowers that bloomed. I wasn't crazy about the coloring of this one, so I sort of enjoyed it for a short period and then I lopped it off. I'm hoping it's just the beginning or the first few blooms that look like that, because the coloring is very different from what the picture shows and what I googled up and seen when I bought her. Oh, I don't know if I can get into here to show you this one. This one's a really pretty one too. Yes, I can. Here is this one. It's a pink one. I've lost a tag for this one, but I believe when I Googled it up or went through my phone and looked at the tags that I have on there, it might be something called La France. I could be totally wrong, but I think it might be it. Because usually before I buy a rose, I always take a picture of the tag, and then that was the tag that I have on there. Let's go on this side here. So I have a few more here. This one is Singing in the Rain. It's budded up. The buds are still very tiny. So I'm not expecting any flowers for another 2 weeks, 3 weeks maybe, but it is budded up. It's doing nicely here. This section of my garden here gets like full sun all day. So roses love this patch. Here is Savannah. She has some buds on her first year. She's doing pretty good. So I should be getting some flowers from her in the next week or so. That one right here, I'm super excited about to see. Distant Drums. Again, she's all, look, budded up. Should have flowers blooming in the next week or two. More snapdragons that I started indoors from seeds. And calendulas. And look at this. Oh my gosh, this one is a beast. It's been blooming non-stop. So I have 2 different colors in this pot together, but look at the flowers it has on there. Is it not gorgeous? Oh my goodness. And I love this color. So pretty. Oh, it's too sunny. Probably can't see it that well. Yeah. Too sunny. And I got my asters here that I grew from seed and started indoors. I can't say these kind of feathery petals are my favorite, but the coloring is pretty and it seems to play well with the rest of my flowers, so yeah, I'm happy with it. This one is all budded up but it hasn't opened yet. I do find they're very slow growing in a sense that these flower buds seems to be in this state for like forever. I haven't even opened up yet. My penstemon here is finally blooming. King Aurelia, or Sun King, sorry. Aurelia is doing really good. This one's in a pot and it overwintered for me and came back. Super happy about that. More penstemon here. Should be opening up any day. I don't know if anyone's grown this, but if you haven't, you should try it. It is so pretty. I find it so very pretty. Last year I bought it and it had like 1 tiny stem with a tiny bit of flowers on it. This year I have 4 stems, so maybe next year it will multiply and have even more stems. Super pretty. Geraniums that I started indoors from seeds, doing really well. I'm not sure how I feel about this pink though. It's a bit too bright for my taste, but it's not bad. It's just not my favorite. It's too bad. I'll put a picture or a short video I took of this one, but this one completely done now. But this color is so pretty, and look at the leaves. It's a variegated type, and she is so fragrant. I'll try to find the photo that I took of her when she was in full bloom. Really pretty. More asters that I started indoor from seeds. So yeah, this is just a short walkabout rose tour. Not everything is in bloom, but I didn't want to miss the opportunity of showing the ones that are in bloom because they're probably going to be gone by next week. Oh, I think I missed showing this one. This one I've had in my garden for ages, but because I had a huge rose of Sharon, there's the dead stump right there that was growing here, and it took up a whole, like this whole area. So the roses that were beside it suffered a bit, but ever since I've taken it out, I feel, and I've seen that these roses have bounced back. So I'm really happy about that. I got a lady of shallot right in there. She's slow going. Oh my gosh, she's been there for weeks and she's finally just put on some growth. I don't know if it would show up there. There it is. There she is right there. Yes, very slow growing. I hope once she starts going, she will fill up this whole area with her beautiful flowers. Yeah, I hope you enjoy the short walk to view some of my roses that are in bloom. Hopefully more will open up in the coming weeks, and I'll be happy to share them then. Yay, my wisteria is finally blooming, and all of its bloom are hanging down all from the pergola, as I had imagined how it would look like many years ago, probably 4 or 5 years ago now, and it's finally looking the way I want it to look. Is it not beautiful? I just love how it cascades down like that. And then of course, Jasmina which is the rose next to it right here, she's all budded up, so she should be blooming any day now. And the two of them finally touch right here. I'm so happy with the results so far. And guess who this is? Apricot Candy. This is her second year. I have her planted in a pot, overwintered her in my garage, and look at the beautiful blooms. She's at the front of my house this year. Oh, I just can't get over how pretty this color is. Oh my goodness. Oh, isn't she lovely? This one's a bit of an older bloom, but she has a whole bunch of buds left there. So once this one is done, I will deadhead her, and then the rest will bloom in her place. So very pretty. Super happy with her. Here's a yellow one that I have at the front of my house. When I bought this rose, the tag showed a pink rose. And when she bloomed, she's not pink, she's yellow. But it's okay, I don't mind. She's quite lovely. So I have no idea what this rose is called. This is her second year in my garden, and she's doing quite well. Okay, in the front of my house here, I have this, what would you call this? Rose apricot color rose. It's called Carefree Celebration. It's been here for a few years, and I liked it so much, I bought a second one of it right here, and both are doing really well. They're all budded up, not in full bloom yet, but in the coming weeks, it should be a very pretty show. I really like this color, especially for my front garden. I find it really pops. And then next to it, I have this dark color rose, and honestly, I have no idea what this one is called. I think it's part of that same rose that I was gifted by my neighbor. Is finally in bloom right now. Really pretty color, this one. So from afar, excuse the mess here, my next door neighbor's doing some landscaping, so I had to tie them up. Not the prettiest look, but it is what it is. I really like the way this one look. I know I'm doing roses today, but I cannot help. I gotta show you this hydrangeas of mine that I have planted in a pot. Look at the blooms on this. Oh my goodness. So I have her planted in a pot, overwintered her in my garage, and look at the amount of flowers on her. Just absolutely gorgeous. This is an endless summer hydrangeas that I bought last year, second year in my garden. I'll show you a darker color. So this is a same variety, endless summer, but a tad darker in terms of coloring. Also loaded with flowers this year. Oh my goodness, look at that. Also planted in a really big pot. This pot I bought from Costco here, stored, overwintered in my garage. And this year, she is just super happy. Look at the amount of flowers. I think this is the most successful I've ever been in terms of growing hydrangeas. And then next to her, I have Iceberg. It's a white rose that I bought this year actually, and it is loaded with flowers. Super surprised at how many flowers it has. And look at it, it's still budded up. Tons of flowers still. I think I bought Iceberg many years ago, but I haven't grown a white one in a very long time. And she does not disappoint. Super beautiful. This one is grown in a really big pot also. For sure I will be storing her, overwintering her in my garage as well. This clematis is a beast. I bought her last year, growing her in a pot, overwintered her in my garage, and she is doing so very well this year. Loaded with flowers. Half of her flowers are done now, but still plenty left. Isn't she beautiful?